Level 10 is an expansive, loamy earth layered with golden shafts of almond grain. Large, twisted oak trees extrude through the ground, while a hazy mist obscures the azure sky. The fields grow almond grain, a plant exclusive to the Backrooms. The most common utilization for almond grains is the creation of fresh almond water. Ancient civilizations, such as the Legion, have documented the process on small ceramic tablets, which were later discovered by a Madrasian exploration team. The creation process has been depicted in archaic texts. The almond grains are pulverized en masse before being mixed in large vats of fresh water. The mixture is then stirred up for a couple of minutes before it becomes fresh almond water. It is said that many ancient merchants built up their fortune via the profitable almond water trade. The creation of almond water was often held up solely by cheap slave labor, as gallons of fresh almond water would be traded in for raw materials. However, the almond water industry is also dangerous. Almond grains follow a strict seasonal growth cycle, as they bloom in the summer and go to seed in the fall. During the spring season, almond grain emanates a hallucinogenic pollen known to severely influence wanderers. Afflicted wanderers will often wander around aimlessly within the fields before collapsing. Eventually, deceased wanderers will begin gradually decomposing into the ground. Occasionally, a wanderer might stumble upon a corpse with a thin layer of pollen lining their flesh. Don't be confused. Many of these so-called corpses are actually wanderers in a comatose state, induced by the hallucinogenic pollen seasonally excreted by almond grain. If an affected wanderer is safely escorted out of the fields and treated, they can be cured. However, they may retain lasting changes in mentality, such as increased hostility, aversion to light, and a strange urge to maintain the backrooms. A series of grandiose metallic silos alongside rustic farmhouses can be discovered within the fields. These silos contain a plethora of almond grain, awaiting the pulverization process. However, it is advised to avoid these structures, as a collection of hostile entities is positioned nearby. Not much is known about the farmhouses, as no one has ventured that deep into the settlements. The contents of these farmhouses and their true utilization remain, much like most of the backrooms, an enigma. The Harvest are a collection of reanimated humanoid entities donning a distinct scarecrow attire. They control and maintain the larger settlements of level 10. The Harvest are known to tend to the crops and subsequently harvest them, hence the name. After they are done harvesting, they will store their almond grain in their silos where they presumably await processing. The Harvest are hostile to wanderers and will actively make attempts to dispatch trespassers. Members of the Harvest cannot be reasoned with. The Harvest are well organized and fairly intelligent. A social hierarchy is present within these settlements, as the existence of a farmer underclass has been noted by researchers. The farmer underclass will often bury themselves deep within the earth during the daytime, while the rest will retreat to their farmhouses. It should be noted the Harvest farmers are immune to the psychological effects of almond grain pollen. Wanderers traversing the almond grain fields have reported incidents of the Harvest dispatching trespassers with sickles, scythes, and other agricultural equipment. It has been documented that the Harvest will oftentimes pursue other organisms, including wanderers, to use as fertilizer for their almond grain. As a result, it is advised to avoid encounters with the Harvest. Morova Kozudia is a unitary state and a subsidiary of the UNCB. The group was formed after Morovite leaders formed an agreement with the Kozudian peoples. It is populated by approximately 120 wanderers, though this number fluctuates depending on the season. The settlement consists of a collection of residential structures besides cultivated farmland. The farmland is distant from the actual settlement in consideration for the severe psychological effects of almond grain pollen and the windy climate. The Morova Kozudian economy is based almost entirely on the almond water trade. Materials from level 9 and wood from the twisted oak trees are used for construction. In the past, the Morovite monarchy often clashed with nomadic communities, creating a lasting tension between Morophites and the nomads. It is advised to be cautious when entering Morova Kozudia, as they are suspicious of newcomers. Several nomadic communities populate level 10. These communities typically plunder nearby silos or harvest almond grain from fields in the fall season, typically a combination of both. The aforementioned communities vary in hostility. but it is advised to keep your distance. These nomadic communities often hold skirmishes with the Harvest over resources, which has led to some retaliation. Level 10 may be entered by digging up through patches of earth found in the caverns of level 9. Isolated doors can be found within the fields of level 10. Once entering this door, you will end up in one of the houses in level 11.